My name is Steve Bush, and I'm with Newline Interactive. I'm going to be going through some of our product sets to show you how we might be useful in your environment. Very first of all, we're going to share my desktop here so everyone can see a little bit more clearly what we're doing. I'm just going to use Word in this case to build our agenda. So a couple of different ways that people learn. In fact, in this case, there's be 3 different ways that I'm going to talk about. One of the ways is instructional or guided learning. In your environment, it's probably a sermon of some sort. During these points, you might be able to use a PowerPoint or whiteboarding as a useful tool for what we can do. There's also group study. This would be your Sunday school or your Bible study classes. The idea would be a smaller group of people with more discussion back and forth, so a lot more interactive. You might use PowerPoint whiteboarding. You might show websites. You might do casting. Casting is taking a device like a laptop or a Mac or a phone or tablet and projecting that to the screen. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then finally, there's passive learning. Passive learning, typically you're thinking about watching a video. So we're going to show you how potentially you can enhance that experience. So while we do this, we're going to kind of do dual purpose here. The very first thing I'm going to do is we're going to do kind of the Newline story, why Newline. I'm going to use a PowerPoint so you can kind of, figure who we are, but also see how we can interact with a PowerPoint, kind of dual purpose there. We're going to go a little bit through the product set of what we actually have and some of the differences between our panels. We're definitely going to do some whiteboarding. We're going to annotate on some video. And finally, we're going to do some, like I said, wireless casting. So the very first thing that you should have noticed is how interactive we are already. And all I've done is gone through some agenda points. I've pinched and squeezed on different items. I've written with a non-proprietary pen, and I've erased with the same pen. The board never got confused between any of those things. So keep that in mind as we go through the very first part of this, which is going to be our PowerPoint on why Newline. And I'll show you how easy this is to work with. So let's bring up our PowerPoint. And we're going to go full screen here. And we're going to say, with our finger, go to the next page. What's making that happen, by the way, the reason it can understand the difference between my finger and going to the next page and also being able to annotate on the screen without having to find a lot of buttons to push is a piece of technology called object recognition. All that means is that the board can identify different diameters of things that touch it. So, for instance, the small side of this pen, the fat side of this pen, and my fingers all can mean different things to the board. That's useful if you are giving a sermon or if you're in a classroom environment. You want to stay on task. You want to be giving your sermon or your lecture. You don't want to be constantly looking for the right button to push and getting you off task. So our technology is easy enough that you can concentrate on what you're doing, saying that we're really easy to use, and then saying I don't want that anymore, and going to the next page without constantly battling with buttons. So keep that in mind as we go through this. So yes, we're going to be extremely easy to use, easiest to use on the planet, we guarantee. Non-proprietary. That essentially means that any kind of software you want to use or any kind of hardware you want to use is going to work. So common questions. Will a Mac work? Yeah. Android? Yes. Can I use WebEx? GoToMeeting, Zoom, which is what we're using here. Will those products work? The answer is yes. So we'll go to the next page. Completely integrated solution. So that can mean a few different things. To us, it typically means having cameras, speakers, microphones, onboard PC, whiteboard, all in one package or in this case, I don't have the cameras embedded in the screen. I'm looking at the camera on the wall, but we do have a panel that has all those things together. Continuous support and training. Right now, we're going to talk about training. Training is extremely important. What we don't want is you to be frustrated or confused with the product. We want you to be able to use it seamlessly, and therefore we have all kinds of ways to train. Of course, we have videos online and some other little tutorials, but we'll go further than that. We also have 4 traveling trainers that can be there on site. There are a total of 20 salespeople like myself who also act as trainers when need be. So we might come out on site and also train. We also have an online training calendar, so you can go and pick a block of hours that you'd like to have some training done one-on-one. So all of those ways will make sure that you're trained and know how to use the product properly. And we do not charge for any of those services. This slide is going to go through a couple of things that may not seem important at first, but I guarantee you they are. Very first thing is that we own our own factory. The reason this is important is because we control our own destiny. We're not beholden to some other manufacturer that we're putting our name on, and they decide one day not to be in the touchscreen business anymore, and then we have to go find another manufacturer to service you. We control our own destiny. We are a manufacturer of our own. The other thing that might not seem important at first is local warehouses. There's a lot of companies out there who do interactive, but most of them don't have warehousing. We have 3. We have our LA, our main one, which is in Dallas, Texas, and another one in New Jersey. The reason that's important is because you don't own 3 warehouses and not have any product in them. We have plenty of product. So that if you need to have a swap done quickly, it's not me having a discussion with you telling you, okay, well, we need to wait 8 weeks to replace your product. I'm sorry about that. It's going to get to you really, really quickly, we promise, because we own our own warehouses. Technical support. It's probably one of my more favorite things to talk about as a differentiator between us and our competitors. Our support is run by a retired military gentleman who has the Purple Heart and runs an extremely tight ship. We are not a perfect company, but if you ever do have the need to deal with our guys in Dallas, Texas, for technical support, you'll be pleasantly pleased. They're going to get the job done quickly and efficiently. These are some of our clients. For those of you that are in the Memphis area, well, even that are not in the Memphis area, you're going to recognize some of these larger clients. FedEx is my largest corporate client. We deal with education a lot, which is pretty analogous to the house of worship market. We even deal with some of these people, local governments, sorry Cowboys fans, medical and law enforcement. Those two are interesting because for both of those cases, they're very sensitive for security. Medical with the HIPAA, for HIPAA reasons. And of course, if you're going to deal with someone like the Army or the FBI, they're going to be very, very security conscious. There's a panel that we're going to talk about briefly in the next segment here that addresses the ability to be hacked and the security of things. And so we're very serious about that also. This is the last slide we're going to talk about. We build 1 out of every 4 units, touchscreen units in the world. So we've manufactured 24% technically of any panel that's a touchscreen that's 55 inches and above. So nothing small. But if it's a large format touchscreen, it's a good possibility we'd probably have built it. So that is the why Newline and who we are. I'm going to show you briefly here. We've written all over this PowerPoint. So maybe this PowerPoint in your case might be a marketing piece of material that you wanted to mark up and make some changes to. Sermon, again, you want to mark up and make some changes to. Or for whatever reason, you wanted to get this information out with all your annotations on the PowerPoint. What we're going to do is exit the full screen PowerPoint. It says, I see writing here. We're going to hit keep. And it's going to leave all that writing that we've had in the PowerPoint itself. So back to the point of being a non-proprietary company. We didn't use any kind of special software here to annotate with. And if you wanted to email this out, save as, share, export, it's all the same stuff that you would deal with in PowerPoint. Because we didn't use anything proprietary, the person on the other end of this, if you send this to someone, is going to have the ability to open up this PowerPoint natively without any special software, and also have all the PowerPoint markups that we have. So now that you know who Newline is, let's go through what we actually manufacture. So let's go back to our checklist to make sure we're checking everything off. First of all, we've done the Newline story, told you who we are. We're going to go through and show you our product set. I'm going to use Newline's website to kind of go through that, but also show you how to kind of annotate on websites. Whiteboarding, we're going to do some of that. Then we're going to do some annotating on some video. And then finally, we're going to do some wireless casting. So let's minimize our Word and bring up the Newline website. And here are our products. So the very first thing that you should notice is that there's really not a whole lot of products here. There's only 4 displays that we actually manufacture, which is a good thing. The very first thing that we manufacture is an NT. NT stands for non-touch. It is what it sounds like. It's like a giant TV. We sell it in an 85-inch and a 98-inch. The NT, as well as all our other panels, has the ability to use an OPS. This is an OPS. This stands for Open Pluggable Spec. It's just a regular PC, shrunk down in that form factor. It is a 4K i7, 256 SSD, and 8 gigs of RAM. There's a little bit of upgradability to it. It also runs a normal OS. So in this case, Windows 10 Pro. So you can put it on your Active Directory and control it like any other computer in your environment, or you can wipe it and put your own enterprise license on it if that's what you want to do. That's what I currently am using on this panel, which is the IP, by the way. It has a snap-in PC. That does not mean that that's the only way to do what I'm doing here now. If I wanted to use my own laptop or an in-house PC, I could do everything I'm doing here except for using that as a piece of hardware instead of the onboard PC. So that's the NT. The NT, as well as all the other panels that we make, also has built-in wireless casting, which again we'll show at the end of this presentation. But that's just allowing you to take your Mac, PC, tablet, phone, whatever, and mirror to the screen. The RS. The RS is the workhorse of the company. It is the product that we sell most often into the K-12 market, which is a very large market. It is the least expensive, and it comes in a 65, 75, 86, and a 98-inch. The IP series is the newest panel that we currently make. A couple of different things about it. One, it's capacitive touch. The rest of the other 2 panels are both IR. Capacitive is more analogous to your phone and the touch that your phone has. It's a little bit more expensive to build, but it also gives you a very, very smooth touch. The other piece of that, which I kind of alluded to before, is that the IP is a very secure panel. It is currently with the DoD right now, going through testing, making sure there's no encryption happening on the back end that they don't know about, or sending wireless signals somewhere that they don't know about. It is the most secure panel we have, and we often do sell it into hospitals, banks, government agencies, anywhere that people are highly conscious of their security, the IP will go into. The IP is sold in a 55, 65, 75, and 86-inch display. Finally, the X series. So the X series is an all-in-one panel meant to be hung on the wall. You have cameras, top and bottom, meant to be hung on the wall, and have your microphones and your speakers all in one so that you can get all your web conferencing done. So you can do Skype, GoToMeeting, Zoom, Teams, etc. In one unit. It does come with, it's the only panel that actually comes with an OPS computer snapped into the side of it. The other ones, it's an option. This one, it comes standard. So that is the X series. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is do some whiteboarding. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do whiteboarding. I've seen people use Word as a whiteboard. I've seen people leave the last slide on a PowerPoint blank so they can use that as a whiteboard. My favorite is Microsoft Whiteboard. That's the name of it, Microsoft Whiteboard. It's a free app. You can download it. And like I said, it's free. It's also very feature rich. So I've kind of marked up this whiteboard board already. And I'm just going to show you a couple of things that it can do. So let's make that a little bit smaller. I'm going to, my writing is pretty bad typically. So, although I was kind of careful here. So we're going to go through and redo the writing. So in a second, it's going to try to take all my chicken scratch and make it pretty. So that cleans it up a little bit so that we can go in and say, that's a lot more user-friendly than others. So, right now we're talking about the four Gospels, and we're going to move that off to the side. Oops. Shrink it up a little bit more. And then we're going to go into our image library and say, let's talk about Matthew first. So here's your picture of Matthew. We're going to blow him up and have a conversation about Matthew. The good thing is that this free piece of software allows you to build new whiteboards, rename them, and then save them in perpetuity. So that's a whiteboard. There are a lot of other third-party whiteboards out there. This just happens to be my most favorite way to do that. So that's whiteboarding. Stay on track. We're going to do annotating on video next. So here's a video that I have. I've already pre-written some stuff on here. Let's make that a little bit smaller, get that out of the way. Good. So, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And then I'm going to hit play. I'm going to pause it. And I'm going to write, he said, and let there be light, right? Let there be light. Told you my handwriting is bad. Then I can go back on the timeline, hit play. I'll watch the same few slides here. Let there be light. So that's annotating on video. You can do it ahead of time like I did just now, or you can do it ad hoc, whatever you want. You can save it if you wanted to, and even email that out to everyone. Of course, the email, you need to make sure that you have the right file compression flow. So that is writing on video. Next, I'm going to show you how to write on other items. Okay, this last piece, the wireless casting piece, because of the scenario that I am right now in my home, I don't have the ability to be on camera and also show you this. So you're going to hear my voice, but you're going to only see the screen here in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up this free piece of software. So before I leave the screen, I guess, There's this free piece of software. It's called Newline Cast. It can either be loaded directly on the panel or as a download onto a PC. It has the ability to cast any kind of device you want. It could be a phone, it could be a tablet, computer, Mac, therefore Mac or PC or Chromebook, Android, etc. It's completely non-proprietary. So we're going to open this guy up. It's going to take a second to open. I've got two devices sitting over here on the desk next to me. I have a tablet and my phone. So the first thing you see when you open up the software is display-note.com/join. This is giving you the ability to either use the downloadable software or cast directly through your Chrome browser. So the first thing it's asking is what's the session ID. So I've already downloaded the app onto this tablet. So I'm going to put in the session ID. Session ID is 37. And it's going to ask me, do I want to cast to the screen in 1080p? So I'm going to say yes. So I'm going to put down my tablet here for a second while it's connecting, and I'm picking up my phone. I'm going to put in the same number into my phone, hit connect, and so now I'm going to have two devices connected to the board. So you can see me here, Steve and Steven. So this is my tablet, this is my phone. I'm going to ask Steve to present. So I'm going to hit a confirmation on my tablet. So I hit present, and then it gave me a note on my tablet saying, do you want to share? I said yes. So I'm just scrolling through this website and pinching and squeezing on my tablet. So that is the ability to cast one-to-one. What if we wanted to do a couple of other people on at the same time? So I've got two people connected. What if we wanted to see both people on this at the same time? I hit grid view, and I'm going to invite both of these devices onto the screen at once. So now on my tablet, again, it's asking me, do you want to share your screen? I'll say yes. So there's my tablet. And on my phone, it gives me the same question. Do you want to share your screen? I'll say yes on my phone. And there's my phone. And again, I still have the ability to move around, pinch and squeeze, and work with this. And again, you can do this up to 4 people at a time on the screen. You can use, just to reiterate, you can use your Mac, your PC, your Chromebook, tablet, phone, etc. And you do not have to be on the same network. So if you have someone who is on your guest network, but this panel is on your real network, they can still communicate. That is it for this presentation. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.